5, 4, 3, 2.
Hey, Beverly Hills 90210 fans, stop what you're doing right now, because it's time to dive deep into 90 News. All the latest news and rumors coming out of your favorite zip code. With your hosts, Pete Ferrero and Melanie Rose. Oh my God, I can't believe what I just heard.
Okay, well, here we are back on 90 News. Melanie, how is everything in San Diego?
Life is good, Pete. Sunny day today, spring break still, and baseball season's right around the corner. So lots of things going on. Good stuff.
There is lots of things going on. I mean, I feel like this show is just becoming one big plug. Like we're just here to plug everything. And speaking of which, I'm going to start right off the bat. I've got a message from the people that were plugging Name That Tune, and we had the wrong date. So somewhere in the universe, the dates got screwed up. And Jenny Garth and Ian Ziering will appear on Name That Tune on Fox on April 12th at 9 p.m. So that's when that's going to be. Of course, we want to plug that and make sure everybody tunes into Fox that night, because it's going to be awesome to see them two sort of figuring out the music. I hope they're doing a lot of 90s stuff.
I know, that would be right on brand for them. And I think it's going to be really fun seeing them together on screen. A lot of them have been doing like Wheel of Fortune and that kind of thing, but it's awesome to have two cast members together. So that's really cool.
So right off the bat, that's going to be April 12th. Melanie, I don't know if you noticed, but as it was scrolling, I was reading it.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Yeah, okay. So it's Fox April 12th at 9 p.m. Make sure you support Jenny and Ian. And let's bring on our buddy Larry Mollin. Hey, my man, how are you? Good to see you.
Good. I'm recovering from some dental surgery, but I'm doing better.
Yeah, I mean, most people don't know, but Larry was on the IL technically on Wednesday's show. That's the day of this dental surgery, right?
My extraction. I lost a 75-year-old tooth.
Let me ask you, Larry. The Ian and Jenny are going to be on Fox's on April 12th at 9 p.m. Name That Tune. We talked a little bit about that on Wednesday. You said you were a fan of Name That Tune.
Well, growing up in the 50s, black and white television, that was a big show. Name That Tune started then. And, it was the hit parade kind of thing. That was when you had like a hit parade, and there was, radio was big. And yeah, it was always fun. It was always, can you name that tune and how many notes? Yeah, it'd be a fun thing for the kids to do that. I'm looking forward to seeing them on the new show, April 12th. And that's cool.
Yes, it's going to be a lot of fun. This past week, we covered the most shocking moments in 90210. And Larry, I want to tell you, on Patreon, sometimes the group of us, we call it the Watch Along Club, get together and watch episodes. Yesterday, we dove into One Wedding and a Funeral, and it was just an absolute masterful episode. It is really well done. There were some tears shed by some of the people in the Watch Along Club. I think what gets everybody is Luke's goodbye. Because after everything that he has gone through in that episode, we see him ride off into the sunset on the motorcycle.
Right. With the cat.
With the cat on the back.
Cat.
Right. Very important, the cat.
And I know we talked a lot this past week about other shocking moments, but that one is probably, in the terms of what happened on screen, is probably one of the most shocking, I think.
Well, because they were like a perfect couple. It was like kind of not Brenda, not Kelly. It was Tony. And they seemed to just have this wonderful chemistry because the actors themselves really enjoyed working together. And, as we've referenced, I mean, with that one show we watched the other day, it was like there was 40 seconds of kissing. Yeah. That's a lot.
They're really into each other.
That's a lot.
Were there any other shocking moments that you thought we missed?
Interesting. Let me see. I'm going to go back to my shocking moments thing. I wasn't quite prepared for you asking that question.
I am so sorry. I just thought about it.
I think I do. I do here. We did talk about the Brandon Valerie kiss at the end of season 5, and Andrea cheating on Jesse. I thought was pretty shocking.
Yes, that was on the list. That did come up a bunch. Yeah, mm-hmm. Or even Andrea being pregnant.
Yes, that is very shocking.
Also, Steve and Claire breaking up.
Yes,
I have. David finding his mother homeless in the streets of Portland was pretty
Very
shocking.
good.
Shocking and emotional.
Walsh is leaving for Hong Kong.
Yeah, that
And-
was good.
On a personal note, in season 6, finding out that our dear producer Paul Wagner had cancer and was really going to be in a tough shape for the next couple of years. That was shocking.
Did he survive the entire series, Larry? Or did
Yeah, he did.
he did? Yeah.
But he was, by the 6th season, he was not as able to be as hands on. Certainly by the 7th season.
Was there someone that was brought on to assist him at that point?
Not really.
No.
Really. No one who had because again, geographically, the writing staff and the producers were on one side of the hill, and the actors and Paul were on the other side of the hill, and so we depended on Paul to keep the peace over there. And without that, in a lot of ways, it's why it fell apart for me, because I didn't have Paul there to kind of be in my corner, and they just they went they went the other way.
It's interesting because in a lot of people we talk about, oh, this is the person that held the show together, but probably character-wise on the show, but it was probably Paul.
Paul held the actors together. He was their father figure. They loved Paul, and we all loved Paul. He was a phenomenal producer. He was just knew how to do stuff, and and again, we were all on the same page because we were trying to make a show for the budget we were given. We did not take anything. We did not go, fuck you, company. We're going to do this. We tried to, this was the box. We're going to produce the best show in this budget.
And you did 30 and at times 32 episodes, really giving them a lot of bang for their buck. I mean, so you were really.
We did four straight 32 years, four straight seasons of 32 episodes.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. Like that's why it was so shocking for me to be fired after doing that.
Yes.
No one was able to do it. But I actually, at the time, I remember thinking, oh, I know why I'm being fired, because I wrote the Tory with Donna and Martin was finally got laid. like the workers in the pyramids that had to be enclosed. That was the end for them. They had to be enclosed inside the pyramids. I couldn't do like that. I had done all this work and then I was fired.
What was more shocking, that or Vince McMahon and you deciding not to go to the town? Which one was?
Oh, Vince McMahon being fired. I was praying for that because that meant that I would take it off. That was I was only waiting for that. I mean, the other one had to get paid off too. But yeah, the Vince McMahon one after 6-7 months, I couldn't do much more.
That's hilarious. Well, I was going to say too, another shocking one that people asked me to talk about, and we didn't really get into because there wasn't enough time, was off screen. There's all these rumors about Kelly or Jenny and Luke having maybe a relationship off screen, and that wouldn't be shocking to me because I mean they're
actors. Exactly, all the actors. There's lots of inter-show dating going on. Especially with young people. But you spend all day with someone, you just
bound to hook up.
That's why actor marriages are so difficult. Because then actors go on location with somebody else, and
all the feelings start all over with the other actor that they're working with. Yes. Yes. Okay. This has been great. We don't know what we're covering yet this week. We will figure it out. It might be a guest star, so we will be on top of that soon. But it was good seeing you this last week, man. I hope that you have a good week. All good in Boston Red Sox land. Is that?
Yeah, I've got the game on right here, but playing with Tampa Bay down in Florida for us, Grapefruit League, and yeah, I think it's okay. I mean, I'm pretty happy with what we got.
I'm happy with the Mets have. We just now at this point for all three teams need to just hope that the injury IL list stays minimal. That's the big.
It's also the end of hockey season, getting toward the playoffs of hockey season. So that's always exciting. The Boston Bruins are very good.
Go Bruins.
Well, good stuff. All right, man. Good seeing you, my man.
Love you guys.
Have
all the news that's fit and lit.
All right.
Bye, Larry.
All right, so that was that. Sorry, I pressed the buttons.
We both pressed the buttons.
Okay, you're all about pressing the buttons.
I like buttons.
Before we get to the next thing here, our next guest, because you have a guest that's waiting in the wings, I see.
Yeah.
I do want to plug this site that I have going on right now. It's the Beverly Hills 90210photos.com. I was gifted all of these really incredible images by Jill Henkel, who was the set decorator, and she, took pictures of all the various sets. And I was like, well, I don't want these to just be mine. So I want everybody to have an opportunity to have them. So I created this website, which I just had up there, Beverly Hills 90210photos.com, where you can purchase some of these photos. There's there's various sizes. There's an 8x10, there's a 5x7, there's cards. There's a whole slew of shit that you can go ahead and grab. Because I didn't think it was fair that I was the only one. So here is the
Pruitt family pumpkins.
Yeah,
I love it. Raised
right? Isn't that cool?
Pumpkin patch, yeah.
How about this one? The Beach Club.
Oh, the Beach Club.
The set, you know.
Classic. I love that. That would actually look really good on one of my walls, Pete.
I'm telling you. Well, Melanie, here's the thing too. Like, I'm gonna do this. Like, I'm gonna try to do it like Beanie Babies. So it's like series 1 is up right now. When we get to June, I'm gonna take that series down.
Retire it.
I'm
retiring the series.
Sometimes they bring it out of retirement, like a particular.
Disney does that a lot.
Okay, so
I'm going more.
I'm going more the Disney approach. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm going to take it out of the vault and maybe bring back a picture. So it's advantageous, is that the right word, for you to go now and buy those pictures, the first set, because you never know. Like, we might never have that Pruitt pumpkin patch around anymore, particularly because I have the Pruitt Christmas tree lot. So there's a lot of cool stuff. I have about 50 or to 60 pictures that I'm eventually going to release on this thing. And I think you all should go out and if you're into that kind of thing, I think that it's all where you should be. Beverly Hills 90210photos.com. Go check it out.
That was so nice of Jill to gift you those photos. And you know what? Speaking of gifts, really quick before we get to the next guest, I want to thank Sarah Sobek. So a few weeks ago, National Barbie Day, I posted my picture of my 90210 Barbies, and she sent me Donna Martin to complete my collection. I guess she had some extras, and I just want to shout her out. So thank you so much, Sarah. What a kind act, and I can't thank you enough for completing my 90210 Barbie collection. So lots of good people out there doing great things. So Jill, awesome. Sarah, awesome. Thank you.
Again, before we get to the guest, but this is going to be a great lead into the guest.
Oh, okay.
I was a guest on a podcast recently. I want to say this, Melanie. Through the course of this podcast, I have made really great friends and connections with people that were on 90210. Some that were unexpected in a way because, well, you know, like especially with something like Kathleen Robertson, who's got Swimming with Sharks on Roku on April 15th. Make sure you check that out, because I was obviously such a huge fan. It was my TV crush. So to become friendly with her was a big deal in its own way. And or Brian or whoever. Like, I mean, obviously Tori. I love those people, Tori, you know what I mean? But and it is shocking, or it is very cool. But then there's like unexpected ones, and becoming friendly with Catherine Kendall, who was in the season 7 of 90210 for one episode as Joni's daughter, has really been this incredible epic thing. She's really just a very sweet person, and I'm just so genuinely glad that I know her. And she makes me like I don't know, I'm just always really excited to talk to her. She's talking about really important things, and she has a podcast called Roar with can't say it, with Catherine Kendall. And you know, Catherine Kendall, of course, was a victim of the Harvey Weinstein debacle.
Terrible.
So she's talking with people, and I was able to talk to her this week, or well, we recorded a while ago, but this week, about my documentary, Her Name is Chef. So I'm going to play a quick clip from that. I felt that everybody wants to prove themselves to themselves or to somebody else or whatever. But for women, it was about having to prove themselves that they were allowed to be in the kitchen when they were probably, well, especially in the case of the females that we had in our film, way more talented than the male chefs that they were surrounded by. Okay, so that was it. It's a really, really awesome interview because we just talked openly, and she's like a very free, kind of open conversationalist on her podcast. And I just want everybody to go check it out. It's on Apple Podcasts, Roar with Catherine Kendall, and she's just a really awesome person. So I just wanted to shout that out. Now, the other thing to talk about is you. Because you have a podcast.
I do, with my partner, Kelly Geist, who we're going to bring on right now. Hey, Kelly.
Hey.
Thank you for joining us today. So our new podcast is called The Antler Queens, and it is about Yellowjackets, the hit TV show on Showtime. And it has all the 90s feels. So we're covering the episodes, the nostalgia, all of that stuff. And we recorded an episode the other day, and it's up now, right, Kelly?
Yep. Yes. Finally it is.
We had little tech difficulties with the export on the edit, but it is up now. I did put a ticker at the bottom. Theantlerqueens.com has links to all of our watch and listen. You can buy merch at theantlerqueenspodcast.com, and our socials are at the Antler Queens.
I have a question for the both of you. I mean,
yes.
Now that you're watching the show together and talking about it on a podcast, are you picking up things that you did not pick up on the first go around?
Gosh, I honestly think that there's nothing that I think the rest of the audience has picked up on things for me. I mean, just from reading Reddit and Facebook.
Yes.
I don't think it's even possible for me to have an original bit of insight at this point.
It's one of those shows where, the writing is very smart and they interweave all these different things in kind of a mystery box format. So, you discover the answer to one question, which just opens up a box of like 10 more questions. So there's a 1996 timeline and a 2021 timeline. They kind of go back and forth a little bit. And the cast is amazing. We have Christina Ricci, Juliette Lewis.
Love them.
I mean, it is such a good show. And, we're on episode 2 right now. And if you haven't watched it, we hope you do. And actually, why don't I just play our podcast open too, to give you a little visual of our show. Here we go.
Now that's a visual of the opening of the show. So you're doing video and audio.
We are doing both. You can listen, you can watch on YouTube or on Facebook. Subscribe to the Antler Queens podcast on YouTube. But before we go, there's actually a couple of 90210 tie-ins here, which is kind of funny. The first one, Jackie Taylor, one of the main characters on Yellowjackets. Her name is Jackie Taylor. And as we know, that is Kelly Taylor's mom on Beverly Hills 90210.
Yes.
And Stephen Kruger, who plays Coach Scott, was on the 90210 spinoff series. So, and along with all the 90s nostalgia, right? In Christina Ricci's 1992 bedroom this week, what are some of the items that we saw, Kelly?
Oh, yeah. Well, we saw a bunch of pictures on her mirror of random guys, and it was hard to make out who they were, but I swear that was Luke Perry's hair.
Yep, we thought we saw a nice Luke Perry pick there, maybe some Leonardo DiCaprio. But I mean, between like the caboodles and all the 90s songs, like the songs from the 90s are just incredible. It's one of those shows that's just going to become like a cult classic, I think, because there's so much to it and so much mystery. And there's 5 seasons
magazine. That's still my favorite 90s reference.
There's what?
Magazine.
How many seasons did you say?
There's an order for 5 seasons.
Oh, very cool. Yes,
yes. And the Sassy magazines. Yes. It brings back our teenage 90s girl, life a little bit. So.
Well, make sure you guys.
Adelia's catalog.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes. So if you haven't watched Yellowjackets, I think you can still get the Showtime free trial for 30 days. I believe you can watch the pilot for free also. And you can watch the Antler Queens every Thursday streaming on Facebook. So check us out.
All right. Well, this is great, guys. Good luck with it. And we're definitely all rooting for you guys. So very cool.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming on, Kelly. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. There we go. Let me get that.
Is there a reason? Is there a reason why you pressed that?
No, I did not. I was actually trying to get the banner off the bottom, and then that Story Slam video came up. So there we go. That's what happens when I press the buttons, I guess.
I mean, not everyone's a good button presser. I'm
good at pressing your buttons, though.
I mean, that is clearly something. You know what? It's April Fool's. Speaking of pressing my buttons, somebody got me today.
You told me about that.
Can I tell that story, or is it going to be offense?
No, I don't think you should tell it. I think you should just say someone played a really great April Fool's Day joke on you.
Okay. Well, shout out to Caitlin Hicks. Is that the right one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding. I know who she is. She got me really good this morning, and to the point where I was looking at my phone in just like total shock and awe.
Yes, we love our Beverly Thrills 90210 Caitlin. Caitlin,
God.
good one. Like, really, really good one.
I was just like, what the fuck? I was also kind of okay with it. Like I was as I was resolving it in my brain, like the information that I was being told. So
Right.
I was like, that's cool. That's fine. I can deal with that.
I love April Fool's Day. I'm still trying to get my kids. I haven't got them yet, but we'll see.
I mean, the thing is you don't want to do, and this is just advice, is don't do any like fake scare pregnancies.
Yes, no, don't do that. It's like highly offensive, I guess, to people, you know, that maybe can't have kids or whatever. That's like the number one thing not to do. Do not do that.
I mean, I just saw a big article about that and whatnot, and it is really true. I mean, we have to be mindful about what we're joking around about. So let's, if you want to say there's a bug in the toilet, fine. I don't know why that would be a funny April Fool's joke, but you know what I'm saying. Like, but not. Yeah. You don't want to go down this rabbit hole of seriously investing someone in your personal life. That's not true. So
no. My daughter wants to trick my son, and she wants to take a sponge and cover it in chocolate frosting and tell him it's cake and have him bite into a sponge, which I don't know. I didn't think that was
I saw that on YouTube.
Oh, maybe she did too.
It's very funny.
Okay, we'll see.
I'm also sort of obsessed on YouTube with this guy that dresses up like a plant and or a tree, and he jumps up and scares people. I'm kind of obsessed with it.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, you have to see it, I guess. Okay. Did I say Beverly Hills 90210photos.com? I mentioned that website.
You did mention that website, courtesy of the kindness of Jill Henkel gifting you those amazing Beverly Hills 90210 set photos. Yes.
She actually said the way she gifted it, the way I've interpreted it, that was do whatever the hell you want with them.
Hey, there you go.
I may have added hell. Of course, I want to plug, we've got to say this when he was on LarryMollin.com. All his books are in there, and make sure you get that. Again, I know we have a lot of things to get to, but I want to plug Swimming with Sharks on the Roku channel, April 15th. It's going to be very exciting. I'm so excited for Kathleen Robertson. Obviously, I'm a big fan. You guys know that. But this is a bigger deal than just like something that she's acted in, which of course I love all that stuff, but this is something she wrote and show ran. So I think you have to get behind our people, and she's just such a wonderful human being. So I'm just super excited for her to see all this happen. Yes. Okay. And that's Roku channel.
Roku.
All right. Let's see what we have here.
Throw them at me, Pete Ferrero.
Okay. Let's start here.
Oh, Taylor Hawkins, rest in peace. What a loss. Foo Fighters drummer passed away, sadly, this week. He used to be the drummer for Alanis Morissette, and Foo Fighters was formed in 1997. So, totally quintessential late 90s, quintessential today, quintessential forever. Love the Foo Fighters, and what a loss for the music community. It's been really sad seeing all the celebrities sharing their tribute and memories. And I never got to see Foo Fighters in concert, which now is like probably going to be one of my biggest musical regrets. So
I did. They were fantastic. And so I really, really enjoyed the show. And I was in shock. I was, by the loss. So real tough one there. Sorry for all the Foo Fighter fans. I wonder what happens. What's the continuation with the band now? Do they look for a different drummer?
Drummer, right? That's what.
Do they do something different? This is going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
And is Dave Grohl like cursed with band members dying? Also, I mean, it happens in the musical community all the time, obviously. But, what? Too bad for him.
But the other thing was a horrific suicide, so I don't think these are comparative. Yeah. Right. Okay, let's look at Lindsay Price. What's our girl Lindsay up to?
Oh, it looks like she's drinking an amazing Bloody Mary with bacon, and she says, "Follow me for diet hacks and overall wellness tips and tricks." And I'm following because that Bloody Mary looks delicious. I've been craving one forever. And as she references, 4 major food groups, well-balanced meal. I mean, we have vegetables, we have meat, protein, everything.
Speaking of looking incredible, she also looks incredible.
I mean, always. Yeah, she always looks great. Her Instagram is very beautiful. She posts very intentional photos. Her feed looks very clean, and her photos are all just so beautiful. I love Lindsay.
You are Media Melanie, so
That's right. I
you are.
appreciate a nice Instagram aesthetic. That is for sure.
You certainly do. Okay, let's see here. Cress Williams, who refuses to come on the Beverly Hills 90210 show, has a new project that he's working on.
Yeah, it's called Unbroken, and it will be on NBC. Don't know the date yet. But it's about like a rodeo situation, I guess. Let's see. I have the exact thing here.
Cress, I know a great place for you to come on and plug that new show, the new pilot, Unbroken, the Beverly Hills 90210 show. How about that? Why don't we do that?
It's perfect, right? We can talk about Deshaun Hardell and, where he got his start from, right?
Melanie, I also have a really cool Deshaun Hardell picture in that Beverly Hills 90210 photos.
Do you have any Jay Thurman pictures?
I don't. No, I don't. I'm so sorry. Yeah. All right. Let's see what's going on with Shannon.
Aw. She posted a really cute photo of her and her dog, Miss Bowie. Excuse me. She also has a lot of, hey, whatever. I have a frog in my throat. It happens every week when I'm talking. Get over it. I don't know. Let me clear my throat. Anyway, she's been sharing a lot about Ukraine and so that was kind of a nice lighthearted picture to mix things up a little bit. And we love Shannon, another person
of course.
we would love to have on the podcast.
I mean, obviously she's the top of my list. So, I mean, I love Shannon Doherty so much. Just such an interesting person who really made a difference in a lot of people's lives. So always loves and continually making a difference, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Ooh, so I was watching Life and Beth on Hulu, starring Amy Schumer, and this came on. It was a scene where we see Kelly Taylor in a Halloween costume on television. We see some VHS tapes above it. So I just happened to catch this 90210 reference on Life and Beth and thought I would share the screen grab. I'm not normally an Amy Schumer fan, but I will say that I've appreciated her new show. It's with Michael Cera, who I really like. He plays kind of this like awkward farmer guy. And I thought it was a really cute show. I didn't expect to like it. I liked it more than I thought I would. But anyway, it was cool to see the 90210 reference in there.
Very cool. I love Michael Cera, so there is that.
Yep.
Okay, let me see. Sorry, I added something to the rundown. Okay, now we have Jason's mom.
Yeah, she wrote a book, and if you're interested, it's about real estate. You can check it out on Amazon.ca. And I love that, he's plugging his mom on his Instagram feed. That's so cute, and she looks very, very excited about her new book. So if you're into real estate, check out Jason Priestley's mom's new book.
Yeah, I'm excited for Jason Priestley and his mom. That sounds really, really, really cool. And it's about real estate, the book?
Yep, it's about real estate.
Very cool. I feel like every one of my friends in COVID pivoted to becoming a real estate agent. Have you noticed that? Is there an uptick in people becoming real estate agents?
There's a lot of real estate agents out there. I mean, the real estate market's really hot right now.
Is that why?
I guess, or maybe people are just kind of leaving, their full-time jobs and trying to do something different with more flexibility. I know that's been a big trend in America in general right now. So
it's just like overnight, every fucking person I know is like, and that's great. Congratulations on your new business, but it was pretty intense. Yeah. Okay. We have a special guest about to join us to talk about the incident that everybody's been talking about.
The slap heard round the world, Pete. The slap heard round the world.
So why don't we bring David Evans in?
Hey,
how's everybody doing?
Of course, David is good friends with our buddy Rory Karp, who we love here so much at the show. How you been, man? How's everything going with you?
I've been all right, just fighting, just training. I actually seen Rory about February, actually. He was at my fight. I actually got to see him and connect with him again. But I've been okay, just fighting, training, and just staying busy for the most part.
And you're a huge 90210 fan. We discovered that on the show that we did. This past week, we covered the most shocking moments of 90210. Do you have, I know we're talking about something else, but is there one that sticks out to you that you feel like, wow, that was that one really?
So I don't know if you remember the last time. I'm actually was pretty fresh to it. So the last time that I was on the podcast, I had actually maybe just started watching it like a few weeks before that. And it was simply because I was actually working out with Rory and we had a conversation. I was like, man, somehow we were talking about TV shows and stuff. And I was like, man, I'm kind of in like a show hole, like all the shows that I watch. Like,
Right.
Show hole.
Right now. He's like, man, I have these friends that talk about this 90210 episode or TV show. He's like, you ever heard of it? And I'm like, I've heard of it, but I don't think I've ever really seen it. So I'm like pretty fresh to it. Like I'm still pretty fresh to it. Like between now my Grey's Anatomy's picked back up, and stuff like that. But like I'll dabble into it. I think as far as, and I may have touched on this before, like being early, like as early as I am into it, like the last episode I checked out was it's something I can really resonate with as an athlete growing up. I wrestled and I lived in a lower middle class area, but I actually went and wrestled in an area that was maybe more like affluent. And they had a basketball player on there and like how he kind of dealt with that. And the main character was like he shouldn't be here because he cheated in his grades. And I'm like, man, I can directly correlate with that. Maybe people thinking that, about me. However, that necessarily wasn't,
You're talking about Deshaun, I think. You're talking about Deshaun.
Yeah, his dad worked at the school, at the library, and then he could come and.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I thought that was, I find little things like that, considering that the show's based in Beverly Hills. I'm like, oh, me, a kid from St. Louis, Missouri, can relate to
Totally.
Yeah, to that. So,
all right, let's talk about this slap. What's your take? Were you watching this play out live?
So I didn't watch it play out live, but my phone started blowing up. My Instagram DMs, I have so many videos and clips of that in my DMs from people sending that to me. You would think it was crazy, man. I still can't believe it, but just watching it on social media, because that's our news these days. Right?
Sure.
Yep.
I just couldn't believe it. I was like, man, no way. I was like, this has to be staged. Right?
Total.
That's what I thought too. I thought it was staged. How can this be a real thing, right? I mean,
total WWE. I thought all the way. These two.
Even from just the way the slap looked, I was like, no, he didn't really connect, and then. I had to watch it.
I thought they were fucking with everybody. The two of them worked this out beforehand, but no, it's not that.
That makes more sense than the actual event itself. That makes more sense as crazy as that is, right? Two buds, pranking the awards,
but it wasn't that. And so let's walk through it. What do you think of the slap, and what do you think of his reasoning for the slap?
You know what? I think we have to go a little more in depth there. So I actually recently just read or listened to Will's book, his audiobook. Self-titled book. I think that's where it starts. But objectively looking at it, we have to go from the joke, the punchline, G.I. Jane on Chris Rock's behalf, which I wasn't as familiar with it, but apparently Jada Pinkett has been an advocate for alopecia, and that's something that she's dealt with, and that's why she cut her hair. Me, initially, I'm just thinking, the Will Smith family, they're an interesting group of people. Maybe her shaving her hair was just her shaving her head is just one of these interesting things. I mean, her daughter did it. She had a hit song called "I Whip My Hair Back and Forth," and then. Got tired of touring and being an artist is she shaved it,
right.
Will talks about that in his book. So I thought that's just what it was. So when I initially saw the G.I. Jane joke, I did what everybody else did, laughed. Will even seemed to laugh for a second, right? We were all just kind of huh. But then 2 seconds later, the camera pans on Jada and you see that roll the eye, she adjusts in her seat, and I'm like, all right. And then, I brought up Will's book earlier because there's a few segments in his book where he speaks about feeling like he's been a coward his entire life. Most importantly, I won't say most importantly because I can't judge what's, I can't really put a hierarchy on this, but we first see it when he talks about his relationship with his mother and his father. The domestic violence. His father was very abusive towards his mother. And he went as far as saying, like, not standing up to his mother at times in his adult life. There was a segment he spoke about to where he actually wanted to, like, kill his father.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then there was also another segment where he could go back to him being a kid in the neighborhood, seeing a little girl walk up to the house of this known sexual predator in the neighborhood and not being able to speak up and tell the girl, hey, no, don't go through there. So like he was so traumatized by it because he knew like something wasn't right, but he runs into his room and hides and cries.
Wow.
So like unless you read that or you have a conversation with Will or Will, like you don't really see that in that moment.
No.
But what I think it was he was just triggered by all of those events.
Trauma. Yeah.
Trauma. Like, I mean, we all as
Yeah.
Everybody's got it.
Little traumas, big traumas, whatever it is,
Right.
you know.
There ain't not one person on this podcast or listening to it that just doesn't react based on trauma.
Sure.
And I think in that moment, Will noticing how Jada was affected, he took that as, hey, I'm going to turn the tides like right now. I'm going to get up. I'm going to stand up for my woman. And I think the sentiment was right. Obviously the way
execution, not so much.
The execution, that's what people remember, the execution, right? Like,
yeah,
the execution is what matters the most, man. And just walking up there initially, I'm like, okay, he's gonna say something.
Maybe a joke. I thought, like he's gonna say something fucked up, but whatever. He's not gonna hit him. I didn't see that coming.
Did not see that coming.
To everybody's surprise, even Chris Rock's. Like, which I gotta commend Chris Rock, man, because like the chin, he tucked his chin, like he saw it, he didn't do anything, but he took it. Chris Rock got a chin on him.
Yeah.
And Will just he let him have it, and then to even throw a little more salt on the wound, turned his back almost immediately. I mean, I think that almost says as much as the slap.
The slap, yeah.
If I slap you and I just turn my back and walk away, like you're not a threat to me. I'm putting you down. I'm putting you in your place. Like you can do no harm to me. Like
he dominated
my
him.
Back on. He emasculated and dominated him.
Yeah.
And I mean,
tough shit, man. It's been tough. It's been an interesting week. It's all we're talking about, and it doesn't sort of damper a couple of things. One, Will Smith's win in the Best Actor, because his work is always incredible. He's a very talented person. Can't take that away from him. And it also dampers the documentary that was being awarded, Questlove's documentary, which is so incredible. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to see that yet, but I think it's The Summer of Soul, and it's on Hulu. And there was so much effort made for that documentary, and now it's like this thing happens right before that, whereas if this incident never occurs, we may all be talking about Questlove's documentary, and people may be going out to see it, which I still think everybody should do anyway. But it just kind of interfered with something is way more powerful in a way. You know what I mean?
That's a great perspective. And to be honest, I didn't even think to even look at it in that way. I immediately went into like, okay, it's going to spoils Will's reputation a little bit, but then also the award that he's winning for the King Richard documentary. But I think the way you look at it, I mean, that just adds way more depth and way more layers, to the consequences of that action.
I mean, and I don't want to see Will Smith, we're in a world of cancel. I don't think that necessarily needs to be the solution to this problem. That's not always the way we should go. He definitely needs some counseling. And
right.
You know what I mean? Obviously, he's got a lot going on in his marriage, and maybe there's some of that playing into consideration as well. But he needs to come out and be an advocate against the way he acted now in a way that's like almost obnoxious. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of the marriage issues also have a lot to play in. And to be honest, like unpopular opinion, I don't think that Jada Pinkett is completely not at fault.
I agree.
Yeah, like I think, and I was listening to my cousin Avery Woodley. She has a podcast called Same Team, and she was kind of talking about it. I think if I put myself in that situation and I notice that my partner is agitated, so if I'm obviously agitated because I'm Jada, but if I see there was a moment from Will going from laughing to Jada being upset to Will looking at Jada and getting up out of his chair. And that was a very important moment that I think where Jada should have been like, hey, grabbed him, put our hands on him, said something, right? Anything. Even if she could not have gotten him to stop, like right away, like she could have done more than just look and not. Like I think she's a little bit at fault there too, because like this man is trying to prove himself to you. He's going, it's almost like, I don't know if you guys have kids. I don't have kids.
No, he does. I don't either.
I have nieces and nephews, but it's like the idea that like kids react off of how you react. In that situation, Will reacted off of how Jada reacted. And like her inability to police Will a little bit in that moment and just be like, hey, calm down. Would have even allowed time for somebody else to see what's going on as opposed to him just being able to dart straight for the stage. Like, I think a little of the blame needs to go on her, you know, as well. And granted, it sucked for everybody. You know, people watching the Oscars, the Williams family, who,
of course,
Will,
my God,
he wins the award, gives a great speech, but I mean, it just put a damper on everything.
Totally. It's almost like we missed a part of the conversation. Like on the way to the awards ceremony, Jada said something about having to sit through a joke or something like that. And then when he looked, like, because it was just like, it felt like there was some history that we were not aware of. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I think it was definitely, I mean, you got to put the entanglement. You know, Will has been putting up with a lot of trouble from people knowing, you know, Jada went on public television, you know, his wife and expressed that she had an entanglement with her son's friend, essentially.
It's outrageous. Yeah.
You know, like, and just putting up with like that alone, and then just being vulnerable on the Red Table Talk, and then he's been living in the shadow of Tupac, who Jada is notoriously has been in love with. Like this is deep. Like
there's a lot of baggage to unpack there.
Baggage. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack, and it's very deep. And I think for Will, you know, not in his right mind at the moment, obviously, you know, I think it clicked, triggered him, and he's like, "No, I'm taking over this."
Yeah. Well, thank you, David. You're an expert. Let's bring you on more when there's some shit going down.
I'm down. You know, I'm down. I've talked about some stuff via emails. Like, hey, we can get some segments going.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Right now, timing is like weird for me. I'm in the middle of a move. I got a fight coming up, but I definitely would love to be as involved as you guys allow me to be.
For sure, man.
When's your fight? Where is it?
So I'll be fighting May 6th for LFA in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay. All right.
Just tuning up, getting ready for that. Moving from Florida to St. Louis and then potentially on the West Coast. So got a lot going on, a lot of things logistically I'm trying to like balance, but
very cool.
Part of the game.
All right, man. Well, it's good seeing you. And if you come to the West Coast, hit me up. I'm out here in LA. So yeah.
Hey, all right, sounds good, man. I may be out there soon, so we'll be in touch. I'll add you on IG and
that'll be amazing, man. All right, cool, man.
Thanks for having me.
David.
Thank you, David.
All right,
bye.
I'll just remove him here. The other thing too, Melanie, I want to say is at the end of this episode, I am going to play an interview from earlier this week I did with Emily Longareta from Variety. She was going to join us for the most shocking moments, but unfortunately she couldn't join us. So I pre-taped something with her. And at the end of this episode of 90 News, I'm going to play that there.
That sounds great. Wow, we've had a very extensive episode so far today, and even more good stuff to come. So,
yes, Melanie, I have to plug one more thing that I have not told anything to anybody about.
Ooh,
yes,
what is it?
On Monday at 8 a.m. Pacific, you need to go to my Instagram, Peter Ferrero, PeterFerriero, for something new.
What's happening? What is it?
Not going to tell.
One hint, Pete. One hint.
There will be coffee. There will be some coffee. So something interesting is going to be happening on my Instagram on Monday at 8 a.m. Make sure you're tuned into my Instagram. Yeah.
I will join, and I will bring my Citizen Detective Antler Queen podcast mug with me. And while we're plugging things, I've also got my Antler Queens podcast tank top on.
Oh, that's very cool. So make sure you go check that out. There's lots of things happening in the world of 90210, and in our world, there'll be a guest star episode this week. I don't know which one. I've been doing guest star in seasons. That's how I'm saying it to myself. So I wrapped my season 1. So I'm getting ready for my season 2, and but we'll see how that all plays out this week.
Hey,
it's just been very busy. There's a lot going on behind the scenes of like in all of now that the world is open, we all have our own things that we work on. And so everybody's kind of doing that stuff. And it's harder to figure out like, well, what are we covering this week? But I'm sure once we all figure it out, you all be tuned into it. So go ahead, Melanie. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, all good. I wanted to shout out, I'm not sure if we're doing the news next week or not, but if not, our friend Kelly Parker's birthday is coming up in April. So we just want to say, happy birthday to her, and Kristen are visiting in May. So that's going to be cool to connect with a couple of our friends and fans. And then I also wanted to talk about what we're watching right now. I had a couple things I wanted to bring up, but before I do, what are you watching right now, Pete? I
have not dove into anything new. So
okay.
that's where I'm at with that. I've been, obviously I plugged Bad Vegan on Netflix, which I absolutely loved, and my friend Alan's in. So that was the last big thing, but I think I talked about that. It's a really interesting story about scammers.
I started watching that actually. It's really insane to me how people are so powerful over other people and people fall for it. It's really, it's crazy. I'd like to think that I would never fall for a scammer, but you
never know. Right. Clearly.
Know, right? Some people are pretty sneaky.
What else are you watching?
Okay, so I just finished up Pieces of Her on Netflix with Toni Collette, which I really enjoyed. I also watched The Wilds on Amazon, which is kind of similar to Yellowjackets. It's a bunch of girls that get in a plane crash on an island, but it's a more manipulated situation. It's really, it's pretty good if you're into like the teen drama type things, which
sure.
I'm sure many of you are.
Yes.
So The Wilds on Amazon. There's one season, pretty easy to get through. And if you have watched Yellowjackets, then you will probably love The Wilds. And then one more thing. There's
sure.
this new series on Hulu called The Girl from Plainville. It's about this girl, Michelle Carter, who basically told her boyfriend to kill himself over all of these disturbing text messages. But the weird part is I grew up in a town called Rentham, which is right next to Plainville. And so my high school, it was 3 towns, Rentham, Plainville, and Norfolk. And so my high school is actually featured in the show. I don't think they actually filmed it there, but like they place like school buses with the high school name.
Oh, that's crazy.
And all that stuff. They changed the school mascot colors, which is interesting. But it's kind of a trip watching this terrible, terrible person who basically had, convince someone to kill themselves, and it happened in my hometown. Basically, it's a little disturbing, and it's a very disturbing show to watch too. So it's a little depressing and dark. So if that's not what you need in your life right now, don't watch it. But it's it hits close to home for me, I guess. Literally,
yeah. Well, so literally, because you lived there. So
yes, and the poor town of Plainville. I mean, oh my God, it's like such a cute little town, and now they're going to be known for this terrible girl that told her boyfriend to kill himself and drink bleach and all.
Well, I mean, I've well, that story is a thing, right? Like that's a known.
It's a real life. I mean, it's a real life case. So the TV show is obviously based on that, but it's a terrible thing for a town to be known for. And I wish they had picked a different name for the show. But anyway, I just thought that was kind of a weird
fascinating stuff. Couple last minute things here. Again, Jenny Garth and Ian Ziering will be on Name That Tune on Fox on April 12th at 9 p.m. April 15th, Swimming with Sharks on Roku. I am on Roar with Catherine Kendall's podcast right now, which you can find wherever you get podcasts. There's the Beverly Hills 90210photos.com where series 1 is available. There's the Antler Queens podcast at Antler's Queens. And you can get that podcast wherever you get podcasts, right?
That's right. We're still waiting for approval from Apple. There's some issue with our art, but if you go to theantlerqueens.com, you can listen on all the other places, and you can watch on YouTube or Facebook.
And then on Monday, check out my Instagram, Peter Ferrero. There is something really cool. I'm starting.
Coffee is involved.
There is some coffee involved, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you tune into that. Okay, this has been the news, Melanie.
That's right, Pete. And I hope everybody has a great weekend. We should be back next week. If not, we'll see you in a couple weeks. But thanks for tuning in. And with that, 9021 out.
Okay, this is really exciting for me. I am here with Emily Longareta, who is now with Variety.
I am. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
It's awesome to have you. I remember when we did the Super Show, you were super helpful, and I think you shared some info about it and whatnot. So thank you for doing that. That was very sweet of you.
Absolutely. I'm always I love what you're doing. I think it's so awesome. I was just listening to one of your past episodes where you were saying how like we can all support each other in the world of podcasting. And I think that's so true.
It's so true. I mean, like that's one of the big things is like, you know, we're all here to work and help with each other. We don't know what's going to happen with our podcast. You've done some podcasting, right? I remember
I have
with the challenge and all that.
Yeah. So I had one when I was at Us Weekly. I had a TV podcast that I ended up turning into specifically the challenge podcast, because that's like my passion is the challenge, which is the strangest thing in the world to say out loud, but it's true. So yeah, so it's fun. I mean, but it's the same thing. There's a million other podcasts about the challenge. There's a million other reality TV podcasts. It's like, but we can all support each other. There's space for all of us. And as a fan of a TV, I want to listen to other people talk about it too. So
totally. I mean, I listen to Jenny and Tori's. I love it a lot. And there's a bunch of other ones that are 90210 ones that are out there. Yeah. Let's talk about your love of 90210. Now, Sarah Huron will be with us on live. And
I love Sarah.
She's amazing.
Yes.
Super fan. Where are you on the scale, you know, 10 being the hottest, like in a chicken wing place?
I will say, so here's my thing about 90210, because I know Sarah is like the ultimate, and I think it's so amazing. When it was on originally, didn't watch. Then I went back and watched, and I have an older sister who was obsessed. So then she watched, and I was like watching onto her. And then because I'm part of this world in the entertainment industry, I felt like I have to watch. Like you have to know, at least know about it. Yeah. And then honestly, before the reboot or whatever we're going to call it, I went back and watched a lot more, because I was like, I missed stuff. And I feel like to really enjoy this show, this new show, which I did enjoy, I had to really watch.
Yeah. Okay. So let's ask you specifically, were there moments, or what are the moments that you think are sort of the most shocking? And we can kind of talk about them.
Yeah. Okay. So because of the time, I feel like the show was in such a different time. I mean, so early compared to so many other teen dramas that I watched, that like for me, one of the biggest things was Kelly choosing herself before Dylan and Brandon. And I think like her literally saying those words blew my mind. And to this day, if I watch that episode, I get like choked up, because I'm like, this show did that before every other show did it. So for me, that's a big one.
I mean, and also like that's such a forward thinking concept that a woman would make a choice like that, choosing herself. Usually in some old show, I mean, I know we're talking about an old show, but an old show prior to that old show, usually it would be they would pick one of the guys, maybe, you know, but this independent thought is such a powerful thought, right?
I mean, it's so strange. It's not strange, but it's something we see all the time now. I mean, we see it all the time, because the women empowerment is so strong and incredible. But back then we just weren't, because it was a love triangle had to have the ending, the happily ever after, which of course the show had. But you know, at that moment it was like, oh, she doesn't need to be with either one of them. Like she can be just her.
And I think I mean, and even probably back then, I remember it feeling like a cop-out answer, but now it's such a beautiful answer that she's not going to fall into this sort of choice bait. Yeah. Clickbait between Brandon and Kelly.
Yeah.
Brandon and Dylan. Yeah.
Which is funny, because at one point, I don't know what show it was recently that I was like, if this show ends with her being like, I choose me and not one of the guys, I'm going to be livid. Where it's like, why because as a viewer, we want that. We want the love story. We want all that.
You want some where are we going with this?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, come on, we've earned it by now.
All right. What else do you have for me? What other epic moment?
I would say Tony dying after the wedding for me was a rough one, because I mean, honestly, anything with Luke Perry, I like, my heart breaks because I just can't handle it. But character and actor, I just have such a hard time with that. So, but yeah, that was a big one for me.
I think a lot of us all connect those two things together too, right? Like Luke Perry is Dylan McKay, and we look at him that way. And I know that he's not, you know what I mean? I know that he's, he's not that person, but it was, I think, honestly, I think that's one of the, if not one of, I think it's the highest rated episode that 90210 had. Really? that moment with Tony in the car. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Rebecca.
Well, it was also because it was the same episode as the wedding, like, because it was like such a happy thing followed by such a tragic thing, which is, writing masterpiece, but it's, oh God. It was like, you remember where you were when you saw it.
Yeah, I know. I actually, even in doing all these episodes, it's really hard to, I always had a problem watching that episode because Luke is so powerful in it, and the way he holds Rebecca Gayheart or Tony is just so powerful. All of that, and Jason off in the distance, and
the way it was shot, everything was just
everything's really great about it. All right, you have one more for me, maybe?
Well, I guess I don't know if it's like kind of off-screen-ish, kind of on-screen. Tiffany Thiessen replacing Shannon Doherty coming in.
I mean, that, okay, so yeah, that is so epic and so huge, and all the drama surrounding Shannon Doherty, I'm sure is you almost wish, doing what you do now, that you can go back in time and cover that.
Of course, 1,000%. There are certain moments in pop culture that you're like, man, I wish I was a journalist at that time that was covering, and this is definitely one of them, because it was like, as the show, how the show changed, how everything was happening with Shannon Doherty, that first moment of Tiffany Thiessen, and she was like, I think like smoking weed or something.
That's right.
Like,
she was smoking weed. Yeah. Yes. That was, I have to bring that up. I forgot that she was smoking weed in the first episode. I think they got it right in off the bat.
I was like, wow, they are not wasting any time changing things up.
You know, what's funny? Brian tells a story, and maybe this might be a repeat here on the show, but for some people, that when he was asked, because he was dating Tiffany at the time of that, and Mr. Spelling, Aaron Spelling, said, hey, what do you think about Tiffany coming onto the show? And Brian was under the impression that it was just for like a couple of episodes, guest star, and then he sees her kissing Ian and Luke. It was challenging for him.
That's what I love about teen dramas. That's why I love them, because for the most part, all the actors are like dating each other or with each other or something, and it just makes it so much more interesting.
Okay, this has been great. Anything that you want to share to Sarah? Do you want me to send a message?
I miss working with her so much. She knows I do. She knows it. There is no one that covers TV quite like Sarah. She knows I know a lot about TV. She knows a lot more about these little details of stuff, and especially more about 90210. So she's your go-to girl, and I appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, it's good seeing you. I know you're moving here to LA. Let's go for a pizza.
Yes, we'll do this in person and complain about the LA pizza.
It's going to be amazing.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thank you. All right.
Thanks. Bye.